Hey everybody, it's Risk. I don't really talk about this too much. I do every once in a while, but you can kind of see a little bit there. But I'm actually a bit of a collector of Amiibo. I've been doing that for quite a while, since technically 2014. I wouldn't say, probably closer to 2015. I got a couple when Super Smash Bros. For Wii U launched, and I got Mario and Kirby. Those were the first two I got. I had no intention of collecting them or anything like that. I was quite a bit younger too. This is almost 10 years ago. Um, but I was buying the rest of the Amiibo at the time at Christmas of that year, and that kind of spiraled into just getting every single one after that, with no knowledge of how long this was going to go. But anyway, for quite a while now, I've had different setups for Amiibo and displaying them in some way. And for a little while, I've had a bunch of wall shelves, and I've kind of had Amiibo put up on different shelves, a variety of different shelves, and moving to this stream room that I've been in for a little over a year now. I have part of them in part of a display, but the rest of them were kind of just shoved away into some drawers in my bed, and kind of just not really around. And even the ones that were on display were in like my bedroom. That, I'm not gonna just be like, hey, everybody come into my bedroom and look at my Amiibo. It's kind of weird, and for stream purposes and things like that, you're obviously not going to see them really either. But finally, after some time, I have gotten an actual cabinet for the sole purpose of displaying all these Amiibo. At the current time, I have 223 of them, which is, I believe, all the North American Amiibo figures. There are cards as well, and there are also technically the Universal Studios power-up bands, but I don't really count those myself. Either way, here, this is the cabinet. It fits really nicely. I have some test Amiibo in here, and right now I'm putting in some acrylic shelves that I have. They all have 4 layers to them, and they're all separate pieces. Each of these boxes has 2 sets of the 4 pieces, and so I bought a bunch of these. I already had 1 set, so I had to buy about 8 more sets to get the rest of the shelf done. I didn't need all of the little cubbies done, but I generally needed most of them outside of 1 or 2 possibly. I'm aiming to put about 14 figures in this or in each cubby, essentially, each little like section here that's split off in these cabinets. And that's about a comfortable amount of Amiibo in each little section here. By the way, these cabinets are actually 2 cabinets, so the one cabinet over here on the right side is a bigger cabinet, and then the one on the left is just a single smaller one. Anyway, we're going and we're putting figures in now. So my whole plan and strategy with this, and I was streaming this, I recorded this, I was streaming this on Discord as well, so if you want to check out things like this, sometimes I do things like this in the Discord, and you don't have to be a sub or anything like that on Twitch or anything like that, and you'll be able to come in and see. So I was starting off this kind of first little bit of an area with Smash Brothers, because Smash Brothers is very clearly the biggest set of figures. There are tons of characters already, and there's also a bunch of some figures have multiple sets of figures, like Pokemon Trainer. Some figures, like Rob, have another reskin. Bayonetta and Corrin and Cloud all have like a Player 2 variant as well. So there's almost 100 figures. I believe it's 95 figures in Smash Brothers. So kind of need to start with that one. So my plan with this is basically doing 1 through 14. And then 14 through 24, or not 24, sorry, 28, and kind of moving through that, so on and so forth, and kind of left to right. So that's what I'm doing here. That third little cabinet or shelf that I did just now, that took a very long time to do. You can see I spent a bit more time on that one. I have really no particular order once I've done that. It's just kind of that like 14 figure batch sort of thing. After that, it's just getting them in an order that, smaller figures are probably going to be in the front, and the taller ones and bigger ones are going to be in the back, so that you can see them all. Because even though I have them on risers, it's not a huge amount of rising, and the back riser for these acrylic risers that I've purchased for this don't go up quite as high, so I have to be a little bit more careful about that. But it was a fun time. This took a little while. It took about 3 hours or so. and it was some time. I've cut this down a little bit, and I was talking a little bit more since I was streaming this in the Discord, but this is generally pretty much most of the experience here. And so, yeah, we're just going through and still on Smash Brothers. So Smash Brothers is going to be these 6 cubbies, and also the one in the middle just below this as well. And that's going to be basically all of them. Now, I didn't have a perfect amount to get 14 in each one, so there's a little bit of extra room for figures in this bottom area here. And so I threw in some extra figures as well. And I knew I was going to do that a little bit, but I did want to kind of have most areas be like a specific franchise or line of figures. So I put Detective Pikachu. He's just kind of a one-off big figure. And I also put Mega Man. From not Mega Man Legacy Collection, that's its own figure, and that is in there as well, Gold Mega Man. But I also put whatever collection that is, and also the one Hello Pikmin amiibo. So here I messed up, and I realized this later. I goofed up, and I forgot to put Zelda and Sheik in somehow. I somehow skipped over them. I had them on my desk. I was using them for Tears of the Kingdom, so... and they'd been there for a little while, so unfortunately I had to move everybody by 2, and so this is the process of me doing that, but finally got it, and that's kind of the setup for that. So other main series here are things like Legend of Zelda. That first little batch was my test batch on the left that was kind of already there. Those are all Mario figures. Kind of perfect, actually. Mario figures being like the Mario series, as well as, that also has Mario Odyssey, and then also Mario Maker and the Skylanders amiibo hybrids as well. Those are there too. Anyway, those are all Zelda amiibo. I put in Breath of the Wild in the top, and then the bottom is kind of all the generalized ones. I did put in a few extra figures in the back for both of those. I put Fire Emblem Fates amiibo in the bottom one, and in the top one there I put in the Loot Goblin and Solaire from Dark Souls. I felt like they fit generally. This shelf right here is fairly simple, but that's actually not amiibo. Those are just U2s that I have. I had a little bit extra room, and I wanted somewhere to display them, so those aren't amiibo, but they still work for me, and I needed somewhere to put them. I don't have too many, but I have the 2 Binding of Isaac figures as well as the 4 Cult of the Lamb ones so far, and that will expand a little bit in the future. Not that I'm trying to get too deep into there. Anyway, that middle one below that, I put all the Animal Crossing figures. And that's more than 14, that's about 16, but they're small and they're easy to fit in, so I figured they'd all go in their one area. Both the left and the right of this section is Splatoon figures. However, there's not enough again. It's about a 22 figure set, so I was able to get a few more in, and so I put in the Yarn Yoshi collection with Mega Yarn Yoshi, as well as the regular Yoshis and Poochie as well. And then there's not too many left after this. At this point, I realized that I needed one extra acrylic riser, but that meant I had to open a whole new box, so I did that, and doing this was kind of painful because each riser essentially had these sort of like film strips on both sides, which is good for protection, but it's a lot of plastic waste after a little while. Anyway, so I'm going to do this one shelf here, and this is all Monster Hunter figures, and so I was doing this and kind of just filling them in here. And even though I technically don't have a full Monster Hunter set, I wasn't somebody that was dedicated to both Monster Hunter and the QB amiibo were 2 that I was like, those aren't too important, I'm not going to get them. And they happen to be some of the most expensive ones, so, good mistake on my part. I also put Shovel Knight amiibo in there. In this last cabinet you can't really see, we'll see it a little bit later, but that's just kind of the rest of like filler amiibo that are smaller sets like Kirby and things like that. I also got Noah and Mio here, and these figures are essentially ones I just didn't have. These are the last 2 figures I got. I just happened to get these after I put everything together, and so I figured I'd show them here. And this is the final cabinet right here. It's a little different because of that Noah and Mio figure as well, but it's generally pretty much the same. So again, here's, and apologies about the glare a little bit, I tried to get what I could, but there's some of the first 14, and we have another set of 14. They are in generally the batch order of ultimate numbers. They just might not be in the exact order from left to right or anything like that. I could have done that, but I didn't feel it was really an easy way to keep track of them. And so you can see Rob recolors as well as Gold Mega Man. And I try to keep like any sets together as well, like the 3 Mii fighters there, as you can see. And just kind of doing that, both Bayonettas back there, things like that. And it's great to see all the figures together like this after so long, being kind of just thrown away in a drawer. I did put the cars for the Skylander amiibo underneath. They just barely fit, but they do. Seeing Steve still is a little cursed to me, I'm not going to lie. And that's that Mega Man amiibo. Again, I forget what series it's from, and then the Hello Pikmin amiibo as well. I felt like it fit. Pikmin and Mega Man are both in Smash. Here's all the Breath of the Wild amiibo, and you can see Solaire here, as I said earlier, and the Loot Goblin amiibo, which is a very weird amiibo. It has a completely unique base, but yeah, I love the Breath of the Wild and technically Tears of the Kingdom amiibo. Here's my U2s here. This is going to expand. I'm waiting on 2 Isaac figures, as well as 2 from the Amazing Digital Circus. And the rest of the Zelda amiibo, and you can see those Fire Emblem Fates figures in the back as well. I felt like they generally fit. I try to keep them fairly similar. And there's some Splatoon. Apparently Callie and Marie are fairly rare now. I never really realized that, as well as those recolors. And there's all Animal Crossing, as well as the Sanrio cards. I have a few cards, but that was more so for the content rather than collecting amiibo cards, but I figured I'd throw them in there. And then we have our Splatoon 3 figures as well. And then Mega Yarn Yoshi, which is also pretty rare nowadays, as far as I've been made aware. So I'm happy to have him. He's a really cool little, not even really figure, but still. But yeah, here's miscellaneous figures. I have these Game & Watch. I wanted to put these on display, and I got my my dad that handles 3D printers very regularly to print out little simple bases for them. So it's cool to have those on display as well. And those are some spare risers there, and then this is the Monster Hunter amiibos. This one right in the front here doesn't really fit very well, but he just barely gets in there, so it works out. And you can see Shovel Knight figures back there as well. But yeah, that's everything. I'm happy to have this together. It's going to be cool to be able to see this on stream sometimes from things like Room Cam, and so that's really, really cool. I'm definitely going to use that more often. But anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Just kind of wanted to show this off, and yeah. I'll see you around hopefully next time. See ya.